6 Iranian fighters tried to swarm a United States carrier at sunrise. They wanted a show of force, but they got a lesson in survival instead. It is exactly 5:47 a.m. The Persian Gulf is calm as a mirror, but that peace is shattering right now. 6 MiG, 2-9 fighter jets are screaming across the water at less than 3,000 feet. No radios, no transponders, just raw speed vectoring directly toward the USS Abraham Lincoln. These are not lost pilots. This is a coordinated attack run. They are pushing their engines to the limit, racing toward a nuclear-powered United States supercarrier. The Iranian pilots are betting that surprise will make the Americans hesitate. They want to buzz the tower and prove a point, but they made a critical mistake. Inside the ship, the Combat Direction Center is already flashing red. The radars locked these targets miles ago. Alarms are screaming across the deck. This isn't a navigation error. It is a political message written in jet fuel. But those pilots have no idea they are flying into the most dangerous defensive network on Earth. If you want to see how this showdown ends, hit subscribe right now. To understand why this moment is so dangerous, you have to look at the target. The USS Abraham Lincoln is not just a ship, it is a floating fortress. It costs $12.8 billion to build and runs on 2 nuclear reactors. It carries 5,500 American sailors and acts as a mobile Air Force base capable of projecting power 700 miles in any direction. For 70 years, these carriers have been the heavyweight champions of the Persian Gulf. When a carrier strike group arrives, it changes the politics of the entire region instantly. But to the Iranian commanders back on land, that ship represents something else entirely. It is a target. They have spent months telling their people that American power is fading. They need to prove it. They need tangible proof that they can challenge the United States Navy. The plan for these 6 pilots was simple, but incredibly risky. They wanted to fly fast and low to use the mountains as cover. They wanted to get close enough to lock their fire control radars onto the ship and trigger every alarm on the bridge. They wanted to scare the Americans and get home with propaganda footage. It is a high-stakes game of chicken played with supersonic jets. But for the 19-year-old sailor sitting in the dark combat center watching a screen, this is not a game. The Persian Gulf is a tight and crowded body of water where political borders are invisible lines in the waves. There is zero room for error here. Tensions are already at a breaking point. One wrong move, one nervous finger on a trigger, and a skirmish becomes a full-scale war. The 6 pilots in those MiGs are betting their lives that the United States Navy will hesitate. They are counting on American rules of engagement to keep them safe. They believe the Navy will not fire unless fired upon. They are about to learn a very hard lesson that restraint is not the same thing as weakness. The clock is ticking, the distance is closing, and the Lincoln is waking up. At exactly 5:48 a.m., the first electronic blip hits the screen. Deep inside the ship, in the windowless Combat Direction Center, a tactical officer sees the raw data appear. Distance is 52 miles. Speed is fast. Heading is directly at Mother. The response is automatic. There is no yelling, no Hollywood drama. Just cold, hard procedure executed by professionals who have rehearsed this 1,000 times. In exactly 2.3 seconds, the entire strike group wakes up. Data flashes instantly to the USS Gettysburg sailing nearby. Its massive Aegis radar system locks onto the incoming jets with a digital grip that will not let go. Computer algorithms calculate the intercept point immediately, 11 minutes and 43 seconds. That is exactly how long until the Iranian jets are in missile range. To a civilian, that sounds like plenty of time. To a sailor trained to fight in seconds, it feels like an eternity. On the flight deck, it is organized chaos. It is still dark outside. The deck is wet from the morning sea mist. 2 FA-18 Super Hornets are already sitting on the catapults. The pilots are strapped in tight. Their engines are idling, a low scream waiting to become a roar. The order comes down from the tower. Launch the alert birds. A deck officer in a yellow shirt spins his finger in the air. The pilot in the lead jet, call sign Python 1, slams the throttle forward. The engines explode with blue fire against the blast deflectors. The pilot salutes. The shooter touches the deck. Boom! The steam catapult fires. In 3 seconds, the jet goes from 0 to 165 miles per hour. The force is brutal. It pins the pilot back into his seat, squeezing the air out of his lungs and blurring his vision for a split second. The 44-ton fighter shoots off the edge of the boat and dips slightly toward the water before roaring upward into the dawn. 15 seconds later, his wingman, Python 2, follows him into the dark sky with identical violence. Their radios crackle to life immediately. Python flight. 6 bandits inbound. Vector 093. Weapons tight unless fired upon. The radio voice is calm, but the message is clear. Go find them. Do not let them touch the boat. Python 1 and 2 bank hard left. They climb fast, aiming for 15,000 feet. They want the high ground. Below them, the entire fleet is transforming from a peaceful cruise to a war machine. Missile hatches on the destroyers flip open. The massive guns on the decks rotate, searching for targets. Every sensor, every weapon system, and every communication network on board has been calibrated for this exact moment. The ship hums with a new energy as the crew sprints to battle stations. The Iranians are 8 minutes away from a collision. They have no idea 2 angry hornets are already looking down on them. At exactly 5:56 a.m., the 2 groups merge in the sky. Python flight hits 20,000 feet. Their powerful radars sweep the airspace below and instantly find 6 distinct dots. The distance is closing incredibly fast with a combined closure speed of over 1,000 miles per hour. Python 1 speaks calmly over the radio, directing his wingman to sort the targets. He takes the northern 3 while his partner takes the south. Both American pilots flip a critical red master switch in their cockpits. Their weapons are now live. This is the moment the game changes completely. The Iranian pilots are flying without their own attack radars active, relying only on ground control. Suddenly, their cockpits light up with noise. A high-pitched digital scream fills their helmets. It is the radar warning receiver. In modern air combat, that sound is terrifying. It means an American fire control radar has locked onto you, and a missile knows exactly where you are right now. The tight Iranian formation breaks apart immediately in panic. 2 jets climb rapidly while another breaks hard to the right. The element of surprise is gone. The hunters have become the hunted in a matter of seconds. But they do not turn back yet. They push closer to 24 miles out. Now, the carrier's own last line of defense wakes up. The white robot-looking phalanx guns on the side of the ship spin up automatically. They are autonomous radar-guided Gatling guns designed to shoot down incoming missiles. If the jets get too close, those guns will fire 4,500 rounds per minute of heavy tungsten metal to create an impenetrable wall of lead. The Iranians try to confuse the Americans by splitting into 2 groups for a coordinated pincer move. One MiG drops dangerously low to just 400 feet above the water. He kicks up sea spray and wakes as he screams past the bow of the Lincoln, close enough to be seen with the naked eye. Another MiG rolls upside down and buzzes a United States destroyer, the USS Porter. The massive sonic boom shakes the sailors standing on the deck. It is a massive provocation. They are begging for a fight. Python 1 and Python 2 stay calm. They shadow every move from above, keeping that deadly radar-locked tone screaming in the Iranian pilot's ears. It is psychological torture that says, "We see you and we can stop you at any moment." For 43 long minutes, this high-stakes aerial dance continues with sharp turns and aggressive passes. It is a knife fight in a phone booth. But then, one Iranian pilot decides to go too far. At exactly 6:14 a.m., the situation snaps. One of the MiG-29 fighters breaks away from the group. He is not just buzzing the perimeter anymore. He banks hard right and drops his nose toward the water. He is diving directly at the USS Abraham Lincoln. Specifically, he is aiming for the island, which is the tower where the captain and the admiral sit. He drops through 2,000 feet, then 1,500 feet. This is not a flyby. The angle is a classic attack profile used to release gravity bombs or strafe a deck. On the bridge of the Lincoln, officers grab their binoculars and stare in disbelief. The alarm klaxons change pitch instantly to signal immediate danger. Python 1 sees it happen in real time. He yells into the radio, shouting the code word bruiser. That is the specific code word that means hostile intent is imminent and an attack is happening right now. The American pilot rolls his Super Hornet inverted and dives after the MiG to get into a firing position. There is a terrifying moment of doubt. Maybe the Iranian pilot is just trying to scare them one last time. Maybe he will pull up at the last second. Python 1 waits. 1,000 feet. The MiG is still diving. He is pointing his nose right at the center of the United States fleet. If that MiG carries a bomb, or even if he just crashes his jet into the deck, hundreds of sailors could die in an instant. The time for guessing is over. Python 1 makes the call that every pilot trains for but hopes never to make. Bandit continuing attack profile. Request weapons free. The tactical action officer on the ship has less than 2 seconds to decide the fate of everyone on board. He watches the altitude numbers drop on his screen. If he is wrong, he starts a war. If he waits too long, his ship gets hit. The voice comes back over the radio, cold and final. Python 1, you are weapons free. Engage. Python 1 instantly squeezes the trigger on his flight stick. He calls out Fox 3 over the radio network. A single AIM 120 AMRAAM missile drops from the wing rail of the Super Hornet. The rocket motor ignites with a flash. A bright white smoke trail splits the morning sky as the missile accelerates to Mach 2.5 in less than 3 seconds. That is 2.5 times the speed of sound, covering the distance in a blur. The Iranian pilot likely never saw it coming. His cockpit warning system would have screamed for a split second before the end. The missile slams into the right engine of the MiG-29 with devastating precision. The explosion is massive. A brilliant orange fireball erupts and shreds the tail section of the jet. Shrapnel tears through the hydraulic lines and flight control surfaces instantly. The MiG violently rolls to the right, spinning out of control while trailing black smoke and fire. It is dead metal falling from the sky. Inside the cockpit, the Iranian pilot is fighting controls that no longer work. The ocean is rushing up to meet him at 600 miles per hour. At 400 feet, he makes the only choice left. He pulls the ejection handle between his legs. The canopy explosive bolts fire with a sharp crack. The rocket-powered ejection seat blasts him clear of the dying aircraft with brutal force. 17 times the force of gravity compresses his spine in a fraction of a second, but it saves his life. A white parachute blooms against the pale blue sky just as his MiG-29 smashes into the surface of the Persian Gulf. A massive geyser of water and jet fuel shoots up, marking the grave of the aircraft. Silence returns to the radio for a heartbeat. The other 5 Iranian MiGs see the explosion and their wingman falling. The game is over immediately. All aggressive maneuvers stop. They do not try to fight or get revenge. They turn their tails and run. They hit their afterburners and climb back toward Iranian airspace as fast as their engines will take them. Python 1 circles overhead, maintaining visual contact. He looks down at the water and sees the bright orange dye marker spreading on the waves. He sees the pilot bobbing in his life vest. He keys his radio one last time. Mother, Python 1. Splash 1 Bandit. Good shoot. Pilot is in the water. The threat is neutralized. But the Americans are not done yet. The USS Abraham Lincoln does something incredible in the moments after the kill. It does not turn away. It does not stop. It does not even slow down. The massive ship keeps sailing on its exact course at its exact speed. It sends a signal to everyone watching that you cannot stop us. But strictly following maritime law, the United States captain gets on the emergency radio channel immediately. He broadcasts the precise coordinates of the downed pilot to the Iranian Coast Guard. "We have a survivor in the water. Come pick him up." The Americans watch from a distance as an Iranian helicopter comes to fish their pilot out of the sea 18 minutes later. He is alive, but he has a sobering story to tell his commanders. Back in Iran, the state propaganda machine stumbles. They cannot admit they challenged the United States Navy and lost instantly. They eventually claimed the plane had a mechanical failure, but the military leaders know the truth. They lost a fighter jet and almost lost a pilot while achieving absolutely nothing. The intelligence gathered that day was priceless. The United States recorded every radar signal and every tactical move the Iranians made. This 12-minute encounter changed the region for months. The message was received loud and clear. If you cross the line, the United States will not fire a warning shot. They will shoot to kill. For the rest of the world, it was a reminder of what $12 billion of naval power actually buys. It is the ability to go from peace to war in seconds. The pilot of Python 1 landed back on the carrier deck 20 minutes later. He grabbed a cup of coffee and went back to work. Just another Tuesday in the Persian Gulf. What do you think? Was the pilot right to fire? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more stories of high-tech combat, click that video on your screen right now.